What's up, fatties? It's me, Claire, coming at you with today's video where I want to read to you. I got this book, I don't know, just like 2 days ago at this used bookstore, and I was kind of looking through it, and I have all of these types of books like this, and some of them are really expensive and really cool, and I thought maybe sometimes I will read some parts to you that I find interesting, because what's the point of having all of this information just for myself? So this book is called Astral Projection, Ritual Magic and Alchemy, Golden Dawn, material by S.L. McGregor Mathers and others, edited and introduced by Francis King, and copyright 1987. And I'm going to the appendix to show you some things. So, sorry. So first I'll explain to you a little bit about the appendix here. Okay, so to fully understand the nature of the theoretical and practical teachings contained in the order's official instructional documents and in the semi-official flying rolls, which form, so to speak, a Golden Dawn Apocrypha, a coda to the authorized version of the system developed by Mathers and his close associates. So I'm going to go to the appendix, which is Golden Dawn Apocrypha, essentially. These flying rolls are Golden Dawn Apocrypha. Okay, and it would be easier for everyone if I read a bit. So I'm just going to read. So I believe flying roll number 22. If I'm wrong, you can let me know. Essays by VHF Quester Lucius on free will and the theory of separateness. So like some basic doctrines or belief of this Hermetic school that this guy went to. While Oriental Theosophy postulates the unity of all life and its basic source, it makes the attainment of conscious union between the lower of intellectual aspect of mind with the soul or higher manus dependent on the effort of the former, or in other words, of the striving of the personality. So I guess we're talking about a separation of mind and body here. Again, in the Hermetic school, of which Dr. Hartman is an independent interpreter, the freedom of each person to decide whether to climb the mount of initiation or to remain on the lower plane of intellectual, rational life is strongly insisted on. So what I'm filming right now, I have essentially, I want to talk about an initiated person, and I have some questions about initiation, and I was just like skipping through pages, and I got a question from reading this, skipped to another page, got the answer. Like, it was a strange thing that happened here. I'll continue. The position of these schools would apparently be that primordial being differentiates itself into units or atoms, each of which contain the potentialities of its original. Free will being attributed to original being, it follows that each unit or atom possesses free will and potentia, finding himself in incarnate condition, living in the sense of mediated planes of self-consciousness, and may strive or decide not to strive to attain union with its higher principles, or to bring the illumination of these higher aspects of its being into function conjointly with the rational intellectual plane of normal life. This can only be affected, according to these schools, by the outer or personal degree of life, reaching up and striving to come into contact with the inner principles. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Oriental and ancient system. Theosophic teachings which condemn the illusion of personal existence, so more of the doctrine, I guess. Negation of ego, and the heresy of separateness. So it is also unattainable in the face of Mr. Maitland's theosophic teachings with the reference to the centrifugal current in man, which returns from the circumference of being as centripetal. Talking about the nature of consciousness, and this never mind. To teach that conjunction with the higher principles of consciousness may be affected by the will of the lower personality is to attribute a vitality to the personality which the theosophy itself contravenes in its teachings as to the illusion of personal existence, and to lose sight of the fact that man is not the former but the formed. That personality is but the external manifestation of the one self-determinating power. So more about how we are evolved or unfolding out of this main bit of consciousness. So we're not the former, but formed from the former. To teach that each atom or unit differentiated from original being possesses free will is to imply that they are separated from original being and possess existence in themselves, or to fall into the heresy of separateness, and to forget the identity of the unit and the universal of the self-reference, which is implicit in experience and demonstrates the permanent relation ever present, which links the unit. Sorry, I'm just making sure. I was making sure that I was filming correctly, and then I lost my spot. Links the unit with the fountain source to imply that the lower aspects of mind have separated off from those which are left and dwell in the higher planes, till conjunction or reintegration has been effected by the lower, is to lose sight of the fact that while aspects of consciousness may be distinguished, they cannot be separated without destroying the unity of being. Nothing can be separated from the former, from the I don't know, have they said a name for that which we come from? To imply that instinctual, rational man may develop his own willpower, that he may make his own condition of life, is to arrogate, which means to claim or seize to the external personality the prerogative of disposing of that one self-determinating power which manifests through him, of which he is the instrument or media, the expression, the unfoldment. The original plan of the great architect cannot be altered. This page is kind of messed up here. By the external manifestation thereof. We're getting to the point here. The successive unfolding of the inner aspects of man's consciousness. The successive unfolding of the inner aspects of man's consciousness must be subject to the law of the one determiner, which alone knows itself from center to circumference, a ground and a fulfillment. The action of the one determinating power on the plane of nature illustrates its mode or process. It shows results achieved by a continual, gradual, consecutive unfolding from within. The sun builds up vegetable forms of life from the seed, beginning with the root, stem, bud, blossom, fruit. The uniformity of law manifesting in the correlated modes to different planes is a generally accepted axiom in occultism. So, by analogy, must our internal state be successively unfolded from within, by the rays of our spiritual sun or center of life. So also must the recognition of the permanent relation with our ground of being or fountain source return man's will to its central source. So far I've just kind of gone over basic understandings of this Hermetic school. We understand that there's no I'm reading it as if like ego is an illusion and we all evolve in an unfolding manner from this original source, and to be separated from that original source, I guess you would cease to exist or something. It's just merely impossible. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, if for effort of the personality we substitute the desire to have ever-present recognition with us of the reception of all power from the central source of being, the desire to be able permanently to associate our lives in thought as an external manifestation of the one determining power, and thus relate our actions to the original source of being, that will probably be more likely to contribute towards unfoldment from within. Okay, so this is like the life that an initiate takes on. I'm sorry, there's like to be initiated, you do this, you relate directly back to the determining power rather than to the illusion of the self. Then that relates back to the determining power, or however it unfolds or folds. So this right here made me think essentially like questioning like selling your soul essentially, or like giving yourself up, initiating yourself. It was kind of this just made me think like of like in demonic terms, because that's all I know. Selling your soul, that's it. That just like sparked that idea in my head when I was reading that, which obviously this is like essentially the opposite of that. This is like not ego based or whatever. So that flashed across my mind. Some considerations on the Sefer Yetzirah. You know you're gonna have fun when you're looking at the Sefer Yetzirah. I don't think I need to read this. Okay, so that's the idea that I have in mind. Okay, now this other flying roll, number 28. This is straight up how to speak to how to like, oh no, this isn't it. I'm sorry. Let me just read what I have in mind here. For by such means are the lower elementals forced to abandon their attacks, and they being absent, the opportunity is presented for the access of superior powers, for it is the higher self which receives prompting from higher powers at those times, and when lower self is set aside, and when the interference of elementary and clipothic forces is provided against. Okay, so this is like a text on how to divination, and essentially you're more prone to be attacked by bad spirits. So you have to like put out a bunch of protecting Celtic crosses or something. But so there's a higher and lower self, and when you become initiated, you have this higher self forgoing your lower self. So again, I'm thinking, wow, very similar to demonic possession in the inverse. Now, here we are, 3 grades of prayers for level 1, the initiate, level 2, advanced initiate, and level 3, the adept. And I will talk about level 1 here. Go ahead and pause and read more if you want to, but so 3 grades of prayers. The neophyte, or a new convert, prays for what he desireth, either for himself or others, and he prays with confidence because he is a member of the great master, an integral part of that divine body, wherein dwelleth the divine spirit, and he receiveth that which he prays for. The initiate trusteth that the Lord of all knoweth his necessities before he asketh, and his chief prayer is, Lord, make me pure, make me holy as thou art, and bring me to thy eternal glory. Okay, pure. Yet the more advanced initiate prayeth also the neophyte's prayer therewith, for he knoweth the power thereof, and he prayeth for wisdom to use aright the power of prayer. Yet notice that these prayers are self-regarding. They are prayers of separateness, even at the highest, when for others. The neophyte, moreover, cannot pray with his whole soul to be made pure and holy, for as yet he only partially desires it. He putteth force upon himself to pray this prayer, yet in his inmost soul he knoweth that it is his own prayer, in the same sense that a prayer for the health of life of one near and dear to him is. Damn, did I read that right? The chief prayer of the adept is, Lord, let me be an instrument in thine hands for good or for evil, as it pleaseth thee, for all that thou desirest is good. Use me, O Lord, to fulfill thy purposes, and teach me, as part of thyself, to yield myself to at once to thy will. Okay, so I'm like, what? But look, I understand Christians are very well aware of evil. Maybe they think all materialism is evil, and I know that they say God has a plan for evil, but to be fully initiated, you have to give yourself up to in the hands of good or evil. So you could be yeah, okay, so regardless, okay, so for ye know that the master needeth not only all whom the words call good and holy, but those whom the world calls evil are part of his body, and move with his will. The outer and initiated unconsciously, the adept consciously. So everybody moves with his will. But to be initiated is to be conscious of it. The Pharisees and scribes despised Mary Magdalene, the woman who was a sinner, yet was she at that very time developing towards the highest adeptship, to which she afterwards attained. And why? Because she loved much. She yielded herself willingly through her love to be a vessel, whether to honor or dishonor, in her master's hands. Few can attain to this height, but one lesson ye can learn of an infinite importance in this fire tattva. Any person, so you see, may for aught you know be on the path of adeptship, and in love, yielding himself to the master's will, through seeming evil to you, as Mary Magdalene seemed to the Pharisees. Therefore, condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. So, I guess, you know, I like was confused about the similarities of either giving your soul up for demonic purposes or for initiated purposes, because they seemingly they're very similar, but one is with ego and one is without. And maybe some other differences. Maybe I'm being way too general about that, but maybe more so initiation seems way more like Christian in the sense, and Jewish. Speaking of the Sefer Yetzirah, evil is to be trusted if you believe in God, because he knows that sometimes evil is necessary. I mean, so if you're trying to be an initiated person, you have to get rid of your soul and be used for evil if your Lord so pleases. Thank you.